Imagine a metal beast rolling across a battlefield, unstoppable, armored, and ready to crush anything in its path. For more than 100 years, that beast has been the tank, one of the most fearsome inventions in modern warfare. But here's something wild. This idea isn't new. Even ancient warriors dreamed of moving under heavy protection from enemy fire. It wasn't until the early 1900s, though, when engines, armor plating, and continuous tracks came together, that the dream turned into a thunderous, battlefield-changing machine. World War I turned battlefields into endless trenches, barbed wire mazes, and machine gun nightmares. Traditional attacks just didn't work, until the tank showed up. It broke the stalemate, rolled through defenses, and completely rewrote how wars were fought. Since then, tanks have kept evolving. Stronger armor, smarter targeting systems, and tech straight out of science fiction. But even the toughest tank has one problem. Something out there is always being built to destroy it. So how do you stop a machine designed to be unstoppable? And if tanks keep getting stronger, how do their enemies keep catching up? Hang tight. We'll get into the latest twist in that arms race in just a moment. Enter the next predator in this never-ending game of cat and mouse, the Fuchs JAGM. Built by Germany's defense giant Rheinmetall and U.S. powerhouse Lockheed Martin, this new weapon was revealed at the 2025 Defense and Security Equipment International Expo in London. Its mission? To take down the latest Russian and Chinese tanks, and maybe make a few generals lose sleep in the process. Fuchs means fox in German, and the name fits. The JAGM sits on Rheinmetall's trusted Fuchs Evolution platform, a clever, six-wheeled system that's been serving the German army since 1979. It's fast, adaptable, and built to handle nearly any mission. Over 1,400 Fuchs vehicles have rolled off production lines, and about 800 of them are still out there today, used in more than 40 different configurations. But what exactly makes the Fuchs JAGM so dangerous? How does it change the balance between tanks and the weapons meant to destroy? Rheinmetall's latest evolution upgrade turns the old Fuchs into a true 21st century workhorse. More room inside, bigger payloads, and a stronger powertrain with anti-lock brakes and central tire inflation, so it handles rough ground better. It also adds layers of protection against bullets, CBRN threats, and can be fitted with kits for extra amphibious capability or heavy shielding versus IEDs and mines. While its electronics follow the NATO generic vehicle architecture, so sensors, radios, and controls all plug in neatly and run from a single multifunction display. Meaning the same base vehicle can ferry troops, command forces, scout, support engineers or medics, mount a medium turret, clear mines, jam enemy electronics, or carry radar masts. Now there's a new Fuchs offshoot built to hunt modern tanks like Russia's T-90M and China's Type 99A, called the Fuchs JAGM, and it can carry up to 24 vertically launched missiles in 6 quad launchers. Enough instant firepower to threaten entire armored formations. So what exactly makes it so hard to stop? And how much danger does that missile load pose to a tank brigade? Those answers will be unpacked as the video continues. Picture a missile popping out of a tube with a puff of gas before its motor kicks in. That's what the Fuchs JAGM's launchers do, using a compressed gas ejector first developed for the M2994 rail helicopter launcher and seen on platforms like the AH-64 Apache and the Mk-41 vertical launch systems on warships, and now fitted to a wheeled vehicle. The JAGM can fire 2 missile types today, the newer Lockheed Martin AGM-179J AGM and the older AGM-114R Hellfire. And there's also a medium-range JAGM MR for longer shots, with the Hellfire and standard JAGM reaching about 5 miles and the MR variant roughly 10 miles, all packing a roughly 20-pound tandem shape charge plus fragmentation warhead, but using different seekers. The Hellfire homes in with semi-active laser guidance, so someone must paint the target with a laser, while the JAGM pairs an improved laser with millimeter-wave radar in a multi-mode seeker that can do fire and forget in bad weather or keep tracking if the laser is lost. And it can even use both modes at once, so the missile will keep hunting if the beam is interrupted. This radar capability also lets the system launch big salvos without needing each missile to be lasered one by one, which raises two big questions. How much harder does multi-mode guidance make a tank's job? And could a salvo from several Fuchs JAGMs really overwhelm a whole armored brigade? I'll explain how those answers affect the battlefield later in the video. All three missile types on the Fuchs JAGM use an electro-optical sensor package on a telescoping mast about 14 feet high to spot and lock targets, high enough for most line-of-sight shots. And Rheinmetall says those sensors can acquire targets out to about 5 miles, which matches the range of the standard JAGM and Hellfire. For the longer-range JAGM MR, you'll often want off-board eyes like drones to get the most out of its reach. And because the sensor suite can track multiple contacts at once, the vehicle can bring up to 24 tanks or other targets into view and engage them in quick succession without reloading. A salvo that could end a tank fight before it really starts. But the JAGM isn't just an anti-tank tool. It's aimed at air defenses, patrol boats, artillery and rocket launchers.
If you've made it this far into the video, it means you're enjoying what we do here at Euro Bulletin. Take a second to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more updates and insights from Europe and its partners. Let's dive in more into the subject.
Only a few countries so far have ordered the JAGM: the US, UK, Poland, South Korea, and the Netherlands. Moves approved by the US State Department in October 2023 and again in June 2025. And the US already uses JAGMs on AH-64E Apaches, AH-1Z Vipers, and MQ-1C Grey Eagle drones, while the UK and Netherlands plan to put them on their Apaches too. Part of the reason Rheinmetall and Lockheed showed the Fuchs JAGM in Europe is to grow that market. And Lockheed's Paula Hartley said the US-German tie-up should boost European security and industry, just as NATO members are suddenly ramping up defense budgets, many planning more than a doubling of spending, which makes buying homegrown or allied systems politically attractive. Cost matters as well. The manufacturers pitched the Fuchs JAGM as a cheaper armored vehicle anti-tank option compared with rivals, and that affordability plus European industrial benefits could help sales. But remember, there's plenty of competition in anti-tank tech. Armies once relied on artillery and ambushes, until weapons like Germany's Mauser Tankgewehr M1918, the first dedicated anti-tank rifle, changed the game. So how fast will nations adopt vehicle-mounted JAGMs? And can cheaper massed launchers really shift battlefield math against modern tank formations? Hold that thought. Answers and context are coming up as we dig deeper. Imagine a soldier spotting a tank and knowing they can take it down with a simple handheld weapon. That shock is what changed warfare for good. Between the World Wars, armies tried small anti-tank guns like the 37mm PaK-36, but everything shifted when shaped charge rounds, called HEAT, arrived. Those warheads punched through armor without needing high speed. So cheap, one-soldier weapons like the German Panzerfaust, the American bazooka, and the British PIAT suddenly became deadly and common. Tanks fought back by getting thicker, sloped armor. Think T-34s and Tiger IIs. And anti-tank guns grew bigger and nastier too. 6-pounders, 17-pounders, The German 8.8 centimeter. So here's the question to keep you thinking. If cheap, portable weapons can still kill tanks, and tanks keep getting tougher with advanced ammo, what really decides a fight between modern tanks and massed anti-tank systems? And how does a vehicle loaded with many guided missiles change the math on the battlefield? Hold that thought. I'll break down what those trade-offs mean next. Think of anti-tank forces like a long line of challengers, some old, some new. And while many tracked anti-tank vehicles from the 1970s and 80s are being retired, a few modern designs can still go toe-to-toe with the Fuchs JAGM on tech and firepower, even if they can't rain down 24 guided missiles at once. Take Turkey's Kaplan 10 STA from FNSS, a nimble, tracked hunter that can swim, follow tanks into battle, and carry missiles like the Kornet E, Mizrak O, or Skiff on a stabilized remote turret while offering night vision, laser-protected periscopes, and full 360-degree surveillance. Then there are the man-portable classics, like the FGM-148 Javelin, a true battlefield workhorse used from Afghanistan to Ukraine. Shorter range than JAGM or Hellfire at around 3 miles, but proven, fire and forget, and deadly against reactive armor thanks to its tandem warhead. Cost-wise, these systems aren't cheap. A Javelin runs roughly in the same ballpark per shot as a vehicle-mounted JAGM or Hellfire. So commanders must weigh price, availability, and tactics. So here's the clamp. Can tracked, amphibious, and man-portable systems realistically stop a force armed with massed vehicle-launched guided missiles? And how much does price and logistics change the fight? I'll dig into those trade-offs and what they mean for real battlefields as we go on. The French Acheron MP, formerly MMP, is a 5th-generation, lightweight, multi-purpose ATGM that can be shoulder-fired by dismounted infantry or integrated into vehicles, giving it a role very similar to a vehicle-mounted Fuchs JAGM. It engages MBTs, bunkers, and troops, uses a tandem heat warhead that MBDA/MBDA partners say can defeat roughly 1,000 millimeters of RHA, about 39 inches, and about 2,000 millimeters of concrete. The UK's Boxer Overwatch concept is the most direct British competitor, a Boxer with an 8-cell Brimstone launcher that stows for travel and raises to fire, using Brimstone's non-line-of-sight capability and dual-mode seeker for all-weather, fire-and-forget strikes with low collateral damage, and its modular mission module approach keeps the Boxer's drive module unchanged. So, depending on cost and doctrine, Acheron MP integrations or a Brimstone-armed Boxer could challenge the Fuchs JAGM for European buyers. The Fuchs JAGM can fire 3 times as many missile types as the British Boxer Overwatch, and triple its number in a single volley. Yet Overwatch wins in flexibility. Its modular build makes it easy to reconfigure, fast to deploy, and future-ready. The Fuchs JAGM itself is no slouch, capable of speeds over 60 miles per hour and a range of roughly 500 miles. Still, its biggest rival may not be another armored giant at all. In Ukraine, over 20,000 pieces of Russian armor, including several thousand tanks, have been destroyed or disabled in just 3.5 years, and more than 60% of those losses came from drones, mostly cheap, first-person view models. Each missile the Fuchs fires costs around $150,000, worth it to destroy a multi-million-dollar T-90M, sure. But if a $10,000 drone can do the same job faster and in larger numbers, the economics start to look very different. And with drones proving just as deadly to tanks as to armored vehicles like the Fuchs or Boxer, the next chapter in tank versus anti-tank warfare might not be written by the biggest or most high-tech systems at all. Instead, it could belong to smaller, cheaper, and smarter machines that swarm and strike from the shadows, reshaping the battlefield in ways no one saw coming.